everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the Beauty for Ashes room for another live podcast episode of HolmesSpeaks. I'm your host, Nicole, and tonight I'm doing something a little different. It's Spotlight Night. Not only does my guest tonight protect and serve our community, but he does a lot for the kids as well. So I'm super excited about this episode. Thank you all for coming in and joining me. So tonight, I have the pleasure of talking to the funny man himself. Let me bring him on screen. Hey,
Hey y'all.
so tonight I have with me Mr. Dramoski Franklin Sr. So this man right here is a police officer, a military service member, a father, a husband, a mentor, a coach. And to me, he's just a friend, just a good guy with a big heart for the kids, especially. I guess he eyed. He eyed, I guess. Oh, okay. I ain't gonna boost your hair up too much. But so welcome. It's good to see you. How have you been doing?
I have been doing great. I've been doing great. I'm glad to be here. I sure appreciate you inviting me.
That's good. I'm glad that you're doing well. So let me first just say thank you for your yes. Thank you for agreeing to come on and let me spotlight you and for coming on and chatting with me about many things that you're doing in the good life city of Albany. So again, thank you. So you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay. So the goal for tonight is just to talk about and let people know the many things that you're doing so they can get involved in different things that you're doing that they can get involved with, and they can have some more information for their kids as well to help you push your vision. So let's start off with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you grew up, what school you went to, and so forth.
All right. So I was born and raised here in the good life city of Albany, Georgia. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I graduated from Albany High School in '97 and um, was actually attending Albany Technical College. But I while I was in high school, I joined the Army National Guard. And I retired from there in 2017. So I did 20 years in the Army National Guard.
Okay.
Had the pleasure, I ain't gonna say I was lucky, but I had the pleasure of being deployed 3 times. I went to Bosnia in 2001. I went to Iraq in 2005, 2006, and I went to Afghanistan in 2009 and 2010, and that's why I was injured in Afghanistan.
Oh
Um,
wow.
Yeah, I actually joined the police force back in '02. So I had the pleasure of joining because of our current chief. Me and him are really, really good friends. I met Chief when I was about 16, and he was actually my SRO at Albany High School. And when I joined the National Guard, he was my sergeant in the military, and he
Hmm.
kind of guided me to. He said, "Hey man, I was in Bosnia, had just had my first child, and I was actually working at Target." And he said, "Well, Franklin, what you doing when you getting back?" And I said, "Well, you know, I don't know." I said, I'm gonna need a better job. I want to start a career." And he said, "Well, what about law enforcement?" And I said, "Well, I kind of wanted to ease towards being a fireman because, that was one of the jobs I wanted." And but I applied for APD, and I've been here ever since, 21 years to be exact.
Wow, yeah, I met you some years ago. It's been so
Yeah,
so if you got there in '02, so you came after I did.
yeah, I did, You were there before me.
So yeah, so it's been long. And by the way, District 3 is still the best district. I don't care if they don't got no districts no more. We are still the best district.
The dog pound, baby. Dog pound.
Mm-mm, no, but yeah. So that was actually one of my questions. How did you get into policing? And that was it a I know you said you were leaning towards the fireman side. What really pushed you into becoming an officer?
Chief Pursley, man. When I met how I met Chief Pearl is, I'm gonna be quick. It was a kind of a funny story. Um, we used to hang out, and I actually had left Albany High, and I was going to Monroe High School. I was playing football for Monroe High School. So after practice, I used to do a lot of running, and I would have like a weight in my bag because I wanted to get faster. And so I would always be jogging in the neighborhood. But this particular night, we used to do crazy mess like call the police and run, little stupid stuff. And I was tired. I was dog tired this night, and I'll never forget my cousins decided, man, we gonna call them tonight and run. I said, man, I'm tired. I've been to practice all day. And they call them, and just so happened, actually, both of them are still police, and one actually works with the school police. It was Horace. I can't think of what Horace's last name. Oh God, it was Horace and Chief Percy. And
Mm.
we were actually sitting over there in the projects and Holly Home projects, and when they call the police, I see them in the cut. I said, man, I know y'all ain't called no police tonight, man. I'm tired. So they take off running. So I start running. I said, man, I'm tired, man. I ain't finna run tonight. So I decide I'm gonna try to hide. You know the one that hide
Mm.
get caught. And I get caught. The chief take me home, and I'm trying to be hard in front of my buddies. I'm talking trash. I'm cussing and I'm acting like I'm hard and knowing my mama finna kill me when I get home. Police finna
Mm.
bring me home. My mama finna kill me. My mom was a fool. And I wound up, they wound up taking me home. And the closer I got home, Chief Pursley, who was at the time patrolman Pursley, he was like, "Oh, you're a little quiet right now, ain't you?" I said, "Man, I ain't worrying about you." So I get out the car and the whole time in the back of my mind, I'm like, "Hey, man, I sure hope he don't tell my mama, what I said, because I don't say it. My mama ain't gonna do nothing to me and all this."
Mm.
Man, I
Showing
got
out.
out that car. Yeah, just showing out. I get out that car. She took me to the door. He said, "Yes, ma'am. Miss Frank, he's not supposed to be hanging out in the housing area after 9 o'clock. So we bringing him home." And she said, "After 9, it's after 12. So I'm finna beat his butt anyway." And he steps off the porch and then he looks back and he said you weren't gonna do nothing to him too. I just thought you needed to know that. My mom beat me so bad in front of them police.
Oh my
and
God.
And it's funny because after that, I couldn't at first I couldn't stand him. I had no reason. You know how folks is. They just don't really
Right.
have no reason not to like the police. They just going off of
Yeah.
what they hear. And
Right.
every day he would see me, he would stop and talk to me. And it went from me being like, man, what you want to what's up, Officer Pursley?
Right.
And we wound up becoming friends and I graduated. He was at my graduation.
Wow.
Went to the net like true community policing. I went joined the National Guard. He was like, well, look who we got here. And I was like, oh man, I didn't even know he was in the guard. We went on every deployment that I went on. We went on deployments together.
Wow.
Um, and I've been at the police department ever since. And here I am. So
Wow. Imagine that.
yeah, yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I met Chief some years ago too, way before he was chief. I left before he got promoted. But yeah, he's a good guy. Um he's a man of his word.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
imagine what your life would have been had he not caught you that night. Mm.
Man,
Yeah,
yeah,
think about
yeah,
it. That's something to think
yeah.
about.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And so
Yeah,
you
yeah.
mentioned that you retired from the army. Thank you for your service. So what was besides being deployed, what was your duties in the army? What did you were
Um,
you
I was actually infantry.
okay.
So basically, we basically was your basic soldier. Um, Went on missions, security force escorts, all the above. And actually, I worked in a headquarters unit. So when I first got in, we were actually RTOs, which radio telecommunications operators. So we did a lot of tracking convoys and different stuff like that. And we actually had to go on patrols ourselves.
Okay.
But all that RTO stuff went out the window once we started getting deployed. We did
Yeah.
that in Bosnia. We did that in Bosnia, but once I got to Iraq, it was totally different. You were going on missions. You were in the fight. You were
Yeah.
always doing something every day. So I was your
Yeah.
basic soldier, man. I loved it though. It opened a lot of doors for me. I can say the military
Right.
did.
Yeah. Well, we surely thank you for your service.
Yep,
So
appreciate it.
let's get down to the nitty gritty. So I see you a lot on Facebook, and you're always doing something with kids. And when I first started seeing it, I was like, "Is this the Dramoski I know from work that just cuts up all the time?" I'm like, I am so proud of what you're doing. Every time I see it, see you doing something, said, just really, I am so proud of what you're doing with the community and
Appreciate
the
it.
kids. And so tell us about the programs that you either facilitate, you founded, or that you're a part of.
Okay, so in 2018, me and my wife sat down because I've been coaching and mentoring the youth outside of what I'm doing now since
Right.
about '07 is when I started coaching and doing different stuff. But I always wanted more because my training officer at the time, Willie Brisky, folks thought Brisky was crazy.
Yeah.
But
Oh.
he used to make me like when I first got in the car with him, he said, all right, you need to bring all your stuff to work. Now you need to bring all your stuff to work, big
Mm-hmm.
guy, and you need to go by and you need to have a bag of candy every day at work. I'm like, a bag of candy? You hungry? You know me, I'm clowning. He said, no, man, I ain't hungry. But he was kind of like, nah, I'm gonna show you why we need a bag of candy. So what we used to do was we used to go to Dennis Homes. And
Mm-hmm.
when we went to Dennis Homes, it used to be a bunch of kids run to the car, hey, Officer Brisky. And it went from hey Officer Brisky to hey Officer Brisky, hey Officer Franklin. And we
Mm-hmm.
would give them candy and talk to them. And
Yeah.
and I thought that was kind of cool. So I started kind of taking a liking to doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of those kids, even when we would make contact with the parents, we would give the parents our numbers or give them a way to contact us. And when they contact us, they would call us on our voicemails downtown and be like, hey, my son having a problem in school. And we would stop by the school.
Right.
So I kind of took a liking to that, because you always have those trouble kids that you kind of run
Oh
into
yeah.
and you want to know, like, why are you this way?
Right.
So I wind up, taking a liking to that, and it kind of took off from that. But in 2018, myself and my wife, I told my wife, I said, I really, really, really want my own program. And I said,
Yeah.
I don't want it to just be based on, football and athletics. Yeah, I want a football program, but I want to do more. I want to be able to go into schools because I would always tell the parents, hey, listen, the parents that I was coaching, hey, if you having problems with them, I go to the school and check on them for you. On the
Yeah.
police, and some days, when I was on days, I'd be like, man, we can ride and check on the kid, make sure the kid know what he's supposed to do in school. And I was
Yeah.
always doing that. And in 2018, we started a nonprofit organization called Limitless Boundaries. And it's basically geared towards mentoring, tutoring. We kind of we kind of network a whole lot to where we find even parents that are in need of work. We try to find folks that are within our program that can help them find jobs. Folks that I know that can help them find jobs. We've partnered with Walmart, several businesses in the city. They actually provide us with stuff for our kids. We do youth athletics as well. We do football. We do flag football.
Mm-hmm.
Football is co-ed. Tackle football is co-ed. We do cheer and dance. After this football season is over, this will be our first season doing basketball. We're
Mm-hmm.
gonna try to dab in soccer and baseball and all that stuff because we want to have a year-round program. We also
Right.
want to our ultimate goal is to get a building of some sort to where we say, okay, these kids will have a safe haven to come after school and hang out because every kid don't play sports.
Right.
Some kids are bookworms. Some kids just want to be in a room by themselves reading. Some kids like computers. Some kids like to
Yeah.
cook. Some kids
Yeah.
like to garden and do stuff with plants. So we want to try to hit them from every aspect.
Right.
Um, we know that that's just that's been a dream of mine for the last 10 years, like having a place where our kids can go and be themselves. um and I feel like I ain't gonna say I feel like it's gonna happen. God
Right.
been blessing us, so it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of time. So
Just a matter of time. Yeah.
yep.
Okay. So now for me, I take my podcast very seriously, and I consider it to be a ministry because
Yes.
the goal and the mission behind it. is what makes it a ministry for me. So you trying to reach one child at a time. So do you consider what you're doing to be a ministry?
Yes, yes. My ultimate goal is to put out some productive citizens, to create
Yeah,
productive citizens, kids
yeah,
that are gonna leave here. And because the kids that I deal with, they're always like, Coach Franklin, when we make it pro and when we get big, we gonna come back and buy you a car. No, Coach gonna be all right. Coach got a little truck.
right.
I deal with a little truck. What I want y'all to do, come back, come back and collectively do something for these kids in this city. Let's give them somewhere to go. Let's find some,
Yeah,
donate some stuff. Let's do some stuff that's gonna help them be like you guys are.
right.
The route you guys are heading is the right path. Let's keep them on that right path. So I want to put out some kids that's gonna come back and, you know, bring Albany back to life.
Yeah,
Get these kids something to do, especially for our youth.
right. That's good. That's good. So let's talk a little bit about Albany itself. Now, what do you see is one of the biggest issues in our communities as it relates to our kids?
Uh, gangs. That's your biggest. For me, that's the biggest issue because and a lot of that has to do with, you got to look at it. It has to do with family. Um,
Yeah,
kids usually gravitate to who's doing for them, who's feeding them, who's you know putting clothes on their back, who's
right.
giving them stuff. And sometimes we got a lot of kids in our city. We have a lot of kids in our program that they're unable to afford a lot. So what
Hmm.
we try to do in our program is give them a lot. Like I know
Yeah,
this, usually every season we'll try to, get parents together. Okay, well, you may have used school uniforms, you may have new uniforms. Let's try to make sure these kids go to school clean with new
right.
stuff, new items. We try to identify those that are in the program that don't have it, and we partner with other programs. I mean, we partner with other um, football programs in the area,
Hmm.
other people, that'll be like, okay, well, Franklin, what day are you doing this? We want to come out and donate some pants, and we'll set out tables and let them lay all the stuff out on tables, and parents just go and pick through it. You know,
Right.
try, and we know some folks they don't want you to know that they're
Yeah,
struggling.
yeah.
You have those. So I tell them, hey, listen, shoot me a message. It's between me and you. If I need to
Right,
get some off that table for you, baby, I'll pick it up and I'll
right.
bring it to them. Whatever we
Yeah,
need to do, because a lot of stuff affect the way the kids learn and their
yeah,
behavior, lack of sleep, food, how they're dressed, how
yeah.
they're being treated. All of that stuff plays in the having that kid that's gonna have a successful day. You know, kid that
And
hadn't
kids are
gotten any
cruel
sleep.
these days.
Exactly. Exactly. Kid that hadn't got any sleep, he probably gonna be cranky at school all day.
Right.
Kid ain't ate in the whole day, he gonna be upset. You know,
Yeah,
possibly sluggish, ain't got no energy. So
yeah,
we try to combat all that stuff through each other. And
yeah.
we got some great volunteers in our program.
Okay, that's good. Now, when people do anything positive, for whatever reason, they're met with a lot of resistance. So,
Yes.
have you experienced that at all or have you had any pushback within the city when you're trying to run these different programs that you're doing?
No.
That's
You know,
good.
yeah, no, I have to say no. One of the biggest people in the city are some of the biggest people that are in this city that are in these spots, like Chief Pursley, man. I can't even describe how much he's done for our program.
Wow.
Mr. Dyer for the school system,
Hmm.
man, makes it so easy for us to be
Yeah,
able to utilize facilities and fields, and you know, long as
yeah,
you got the correct stuff in place, because you have to have, there's paperwork and stuff you have to have in place. But I mean, it's you know, of course you're gonna have people that are behind closed doors kind of talking, but as far as resistance for me, no, I haven't. Because the majority of the city wants to see positive stuff. You know, a lot of folks in the city want to be like, okay, well, we want a police officer out here doing stuff with the kids. That's what we want to see. We want to see
right.
people in general out here doing stuff with the kids. At
Yeah,
first I used to be kind of afraid. the expo for stuff. I'm like, nah, I just do it on my own.
Yeah.
But it took a guy who it took a program or a nonprofit program. It's actually
Mm-hmm.
two. One of them is called 1334. They do a lot of video production and stuff around the city. TMG Studios do a lot of stuff. But Jay Sharp was the one who told me, Franklin, if no one knows, people need to know what you're doing.
Right.
If no one knows, they can't help you.
Yeah.
And I had to think about it. And he was like, it's not about you asking, it's you asking for kids. So nah, I ask anybody for something. I ask anybody for something for a child. I
Yeah.
was at that point where I'm at that point now where I believe wholeheartedly, like they can say what they want to say about Albany. I was born and raised here. I've never really thought about moving anywhere else. But I've
Mm-hmm.
always wanted to see and help the city grow.
Right.
So anything that I can help them with, and anytime I ask for help, I get zero resistance. So
That's good.
that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's really good. And Kenyatta says, yes, Coach Franklin is the best, and he doesn't stop mentoring even after they complete his program. So that's
At
good.
all.
People
Look,
are
my motto
watching.
My motto is this. Once I make contact with your child, I'm here till they 18 and beyond.
Right.
So, I got some great stories. I got some stories where they're not so great. But all in all, I've never like given up on a child because I
Yeah.
believe, you can speak positivity in a child. You
Oh,
can also speak
absolutely.
negativity in a
Yeah.
child. So
Yeah. Okay, so you coach and you do other things like mentor. So, but what do you think you're called to do? Do you think what you're doing is your God given purpose?
yes,
Or do you think
yes.
you're walking in your purpose already?
I think this is what God wants me to do. I've been put in like great positions. I think the biggest thing that has happened to me lately is being associated with the Albany Daughter Youth Unit. Now, a lot of folks don't know about the Albany Daughter Youth Unit, but it's a joint effort between the Dougherty County Sheriff's Office and the Albany Police Department. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I'll say this, one day, probably about a couple of years ago, I was really just sitting back and I was like, man, I really just want to work with kids. And I had thought about it. I had talked with my wife about it, and I was ready to let policing go because it was getting hard to work with kids and police, and my
Yeah.
heart was just really, really into working with kids. And you know, look at that man up there again. I get up one morning and the chief called me. He said, "Hey, what you doing?" I said, "I ain't doing nothing." I said, I'm actually I think I was getting ready to head to court. I was just getting out of court. He said, "We got a meeting in the morning at 7 o'clock. You need to be there. It's gonna be at the jail." I'm like, okay, cool. And I go to this meeting, and this meeting is the start of the Albany Daughter Youth Unit. And
Mm.
he said, after the meeting, I'm sitting there and I'm getting chill bumps because they're talking about everything I just told you.
Wow.
Starting youth programs for the kids, having a place where the kids can go a safe haven. And I'm sitting there like with chill bumps. And
Yeah.
after the meeting, he said, "Franklin, this is what you're gonna be doing. You're not gonna be doing nothing else. You're gonna be doing whatever they have you doing with the Albany Daughter Youth Unit." And one of the things was mentoring. Like I was already doing that. So all I had to do was just roll what I was doing over into them and kind of combining, and it goes hand in hand. Like
Yeah.
we're always like our day is like I'm super busy now. Some folks in the background say, "Oh man, Franklin, he just no." We're going from school to school, from
Yeah.
elementary all the way up to high school. We're school to school, checking on kids, making sure their grades are squared away, doing interventions. Uh, they if kids need something, we try to find something. We do free summer camps in the summer. We actually this is our second summer, which they were doing. They used to call it the Champs Camp, but it's actually the Albany Daughter Youth Unit Summer Camp. They changed the name, so we had about this year we had about 100 and some kids. These kids were fed for free. It was Monday through Friday, unless it was a holiday. They got to go on free field trips. I think we did 2 or 3 field trips. Like some of these kids never been out of Albany, and the highlight of it for me is like when a kid goes somewhere and they're like, "Coach Franklin," because nobody really calls me Officer Franklin. They always say Coach. Like Coach Franklin,
Yeah.
man, I've never been out of Albany. I'm having so much fun, and it
Wow.
kind of changes them. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's this is truly what I because when I get up in the morning, all I think about is helping somebody's child. That's it.
Mm.
And the beauty of it is I can incorporate my family into it. So it's not like I'm just
Yeah.
leaving my family. It's kind of like,
Right.
okay, well, she's actually talking to these little girls and,
Yeah.
helping run the program and doing all that stuff. So that's awesome. That's the best part about it.
Yeah. That's a partnership, a good partnership. Kenyatta also says, she said, "You're the reason why her son Mitchell plays football."
Yeah. Mitchell.
Yeah. She has
That's my
good kids.
boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Love
She is.
Mitchell.
She's and a good mom too.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Now,
She's
hey
super supportive.
Rachel, hey Erica. Okay, so now I got to put some scripture on it. Now, Proverbs
Got you.
18:16 says, "A man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men." So, with that being said, how does this scripture prove to be true in your life? Like, what doors has your gift opened for you?
Oh man, it's giving me joy, man. Like peace.
Mm,
I wake up every morning like I'm in such a positive space now. I don't even think I don't raise my voice except maybe just to get a kid to run or something. Like, but
wow.
as far as like mentally, I'm in such a peaceful, joyful place right now. Like, it's this is how you know that when you wake up every morning and you smiling. I think I rarely frown. I'm always smiling. So, it's brought me joy and peace, man. That's the biggest thing.
That's good. But that ain't nothing better than peace.
Ain't nothing
Hey, I'm
better.
talking about some real good peace. Woo.
Yes, yes,
You're
yes.
just unbothered by everything.
Man,
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
So, what other, besides football and flag football, I know you probably have kids of different ages. So,
Mhm.
this is like a two-part question. What's your most favorite thing about coaching the kids?
Watching them develop. Watching them develop. Whether it's mentally, whether it's physically, just watching them grow up, get better at something. See themselves get better at something.
Yeah,
See the smiles and the laughter and watching them socialize with kids that they may have never met in their lives.
yeah,
And I think that's one of the biggest gang deterrents out here. Like to for a kid on Far West Doublegate to be dealing with a kid behind the mill, East Side,
right.
that they probably never would have met if it wasn't for youth sports. But they're
Yeah,
meeting, and now these kids are actually spending the night in each other's neighborhoods, staying at each other's houses, and kind of getting a feel for how this kid lives and that kid lives, and it can create motivation, for kids to be like,
yeah,
okay, I want to get to this position, or it also it creates appreciation. Like that kid that may not have a lot, they like, man, and that kid that has a lot that may deal with that kid that doesn't have a lot, and they like,
yeah,
man, I really appreciate what my mom and them doing for me because my buddy kind of struggling a little bit.
yeah.
I like to tell this story. Like with my son, I actually, whenever I would deal with kids, I would kind of, when I first started working as a neighborhood resource officer, I was working in the CME area, and
Hmm.
we used to go pick up these kids for football practice. And one of the kids, he didn't have some shoes, and my son had outgrew some shoes, and like 3 or 4 pattern my son had. So I was like, I'm gonna sell these shoes. Well, my son saw that boy didn't have no shoes, and he brought all them shoes to practice. And I'm sitting there looking like, hey, boy, these shoes $100 a pop. But he was like, well, daddy, why sell them when we can give them to this kid who ain't got it?
Come on.
Like, people don't understand, like, how it has motivated my kids to help other folks. My
Hmm.
son will see a man that's on the street asking for money, and he'll give him his last and be like, oh, dad, I'm gonna get a blessing for it. It's all good. You said I'm gonna get a blessing,
Wow.
right? And I'm like, yeah. So my ninth grader, man, and all of my kids, they're really like they love giving. They love giving. So
Yeah,
it's awesome.
it's a learned trait. They
Yeah.
see, and then most, sometimes we do things that we don't even realize that our kids are actually watching
Yeah.
everything that we do. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So the second part of that question is, how do you deal with disciplining the kids? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. I went out again.
Come off me. Okay, you good. I can
Okay.
see you now. I can see and hear.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So how do you deal with the discipline part with the kids?
Uh, discipline. I wouldn't say I'm so hard on them. I will say, I wouldn't say I demand respect, but I demand that they be respectful. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like I can't have you part of this program and then you're out there talking crazy to adults. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's a certain way to do that. Sometimes make them run. Sometimes I punish them. Sometimes
Hmm.
make them. I always make them apologize, especially when it comes to disrespect. You gotta apologize. There's just no way
Right.
around it. And most of them are super super receptive because one thing I've learned about children is most of them just want somebody that they don't want to disappoint. Like if they got that one
Mm.
person, like think about how you like with my mom. I never wanted to disappoint my mom. I remember getting in
Yeah.
trouble in basic training just because being a clown and I used to be so mad and angry about my pops not really being there and stuff like that. And once I got in the military, it used to make me work extra hard. So I was always wanted to be a perfectionist. But I remember the drill sergeant saying, Franklin, if you don't stop, we're gonna have to put you out. And I'm like, man, no, I can't be put out. That's gonna hurt
Yeah.
mama. So that was my person that I didn't want to disappoint. So
Yeah.
I try to give them that person. Like majority of the kids, if you tell them the kids that I've had since they were 5, 6 years old, you tell them, hey, you want me to call Coach Frank? And they're gonna be like, nah, nah, don't call Coach. Nah, we need Coach to
Mm.
know I'm out here acting a fool. So giving them somebody that they don't want to disappoint is my biggest thing.
Mm. That's good. So when dealing with kids, the other side of that coin, you got to deal with parents. So how do you deal with the parents and setting boundaries that, okay, this is my program? How do you set those boundaries?
A lot of the parents have to be kind of coached on patience.
Mm.
Like a lot of them ain't patient. A lot of them are not, especially when it comes to youth sports. Man, they expect that kid to be like, if he play football, they expect that kid to be Jerry Rice, or they expect that kid to be Odell Beckham, like right now. But it takes time, and they'll look at your kids. Like my children have always been in the program, and they're pretty decent athletes, and they'll look at my kids and be like, "Well, he need to be like your boy." No, he 5.
Mm.
My boy had been playing since he was 5. That's a difference. You
Yeah.
gotta wait till they develop, and some parents don't have that patience. You gotta
Mm.
sit down and say, yeah, I gotta kind of step back a little bit and mold him and let him be there. Sometimes it gets frustrated. I've been frustrated at times, but at the same time, I have to understand, man, this kid's 6 years old. He got
Yeah.
a lot more football left. This might not be his year that he blows up. It might be the next year. It might be
Yeah.
later in the season. Um, Even with parenting, you know what I'm saying? You have to teach them patience. Like some
Mm.
parents, they want to raise kids like we were raised, and these ain't the same kids.
Mm. It is
These some new
not.
kids.
New kids and new
New,
time.
like the old folks say, these some new children here. Like
Yeah.
and me and a couple of guys were talking today, and we were saying like we really got some suburban kids, cause my kids don't know like them lights might possibly be off tomorrow. Mama, they don't
Yeah.
understand. Mama gonna be gone. Like I remember my mama used to work so hard
Mm.
around Christmas time to make sure that we had everything that we wanted.
Wow.
90% of the time, that was the only time I mean, my mama would be gone for when we get up in the morning. Mama gone. We go to sleep at night. Mama coming in. How y'all doing, baby? And we don't see her no more. To that Friday,
Yeah.
Saturday, and a lot of stuff we had to learn to do on our own. Like
Yeah.
it's funny. It's funny. Like at 9, 10 years old, I was ironing clothes and making a little small meal. These
Yeah.
kids, Mama, what we gonna eat? You know, So now, like
Mm-hmm.
my children are, we started teaching them to make little small meals, and
Yeah.
they ironing on their own and starting to do chores, and it's gut wrenching for them, But
Oh,
at the
yeah.
same time, we tend to want to be hard on them because we were raised in a certain way.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, we can't be hard on them because we got to realize that, man,
Time is
these kids
different.
ain't being raised. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, different times.
It's definitely a different time. Now, so a few weeks ago, I saw a post that you made about a coaching position opportunity that you have now. Super happy for you, by the way. So
Thank you,
you
thank you, thank you.
posted about the assistant coach for the Doherty Comprehensive High School girls flag football. So how did that? Tell us about that. How did that happen?
Man, coach Coach Ali, man. Listen, man. Shout out to Doherty High School. Period. They square. Shout out to all the high schools in Albany. All of them are great, 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 great schools. Um, but me and Coach Ali, we got kind of a. I met Coach Ali actually last summer, and she was doing a little thing in the summer with girls. Working with girls and playing basketball and stuff. And my daughter's a really, really good basketball player, and she loves Coach Ali. And Coach Ali knows that I do a lot with flag football and co-ed flag football and stuff like that. So she actually offered me the job, and she called me. She was like, "Franklin, I need you to come over here." So I'm thinking, "Oh man, she need help, with a kid or whatever." So I zoom on over here, and she said, "Well, listen, we finna start girls flag football," and I was like really, really excited about that because our girls need other stuff to do,
Right.
and it's getting them active. And I'm like, man, these girls really, really gonna enjoy this. You know what I'm saying? So, and I wound up coming over, and the rest is history, man. They offered me a job, and like I've been practicing for about a week and a half. Shout out to Coach Larry because she's actually the head coach. Super
Hmm.
helpful, super understanding. Just a great group of folks over here, man, and I'm enjoy this. I like coaching girls because no disrespect to my boys, but man, them girls work hard. They work hard because they wanna, most of our boys think we know everything, but them girls they wanna learn. So you can push them a little
Yeah.
harder than you boys.
Yeah. We can rough it up too.
So
So sometimes we harder than the men.
yeah, yeah,
But
that is true.
that's good. That's good that the girls aren't left out. So that's good. I'm happy for you.
Yes, yes.
So
Thank you. I
let's talk
appreciate it.
about funding. How can people donate to your program?
Uh, you can contact myself. You can contact my wife. You can email us at South Georgia Wolverines at gmail.com or
Hmm.
limitlessboundaries1 at gmail.com. You can also, if you want to send a check or money order, you can send it to Limitless Boundaries, um, 177 Hill Ridge Drive, Leesburg, Georgia, 31763. You can go to our Facebook page, which is South Georgia Wolverines Athletics. You can send us a message through there. We do Apple Pay, we do Cash App, any kind of pay you want to name, we got it. And that's pretty much it.
Wow. Okay. But I'll get that information so when I do the after post, I can put that up for you.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
now that all this work that you do, of course, you don't do it on your own. So who's your biggest supporters in pushing your vision?
Man, my wife, Keisha
Hmm.
Franklin.
We should have had her on with
She
you.
is big, 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 big. One thing for me is, when I'm asleep, she up. When I'm asleep,
Hmm.
she's up. Um, a lot of the stuff that people see, the post and the emails and all that good stuff, she's the
Hmm.
one that usually does it. Um,
Yeah.
I do a lot of talking, but behind the scenes, like she is my biggest supporter, and to be able to include her and my children is super amazing. So she is my biggest supporter.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So quite naturally, there has to be a balance because with your home life, your home personal life, and your different programs that you're involved in, and when you do so much, sometimes we forget ourselves. We forget all about ourselves, and so being that you're so busy, what do you do to maintain your mental health? What do you
Uh,
do for your for me time?
for my me time, I watch sports. 90% of my time, honestly, 90% of my me time is not me time. Like I'm like really really huge and big on family and my children. That is my me
Hmm.
time. I spend all my time with my children. If I'm not watching the game that they're
Hmm.
playing, or if I'm not helping them get better, or just sitting in the house, I'm not the daddy that's gonna be in the room back here just chilling. Like if I'm in the
Yeah,
room, it's probably one of them back there. There's
yeah,
somebody back there like, okay, well, daddy, what you think about this and that? Because I know there's gonna be a time where, I'm gonna get older and
yeah.
I may not be here. So I want to cherish as much time as I can with my
Much
children
time.
because yeah, I didn't have that with my father. Me and my father kind of disappeared for a while, but once I got older, I forgave him and we had a great relationship up until he passed. But because you have to forgive people. Some
Oh
people
yeah,
make mistakes in life. Some people make mistakes in life, man. That some people, oh, my daddy wasn't there, but we can't. And that's one of the things that I teach my boys. Like we can't use your daddy's not here as an excuse to just
that's
go
an
out and
excuse.
rob somebody, or do something.
Right.
Yeah, like you still got mama here, right? And they like, yeah.
Hmm.
Do you love mama, right? Yeah, I love mama. Okay, there you go. There's your
That's
motivation.
enough.
We can't. Yeah, it's easy to make an excuse. It's easy to say this is why I did it because my daddy wasn't
Yeah.
there. No,
Right.
because one thing they know they have is you're gonna have some positive males, especially if you're in our program. Between me and the coaches, shout out to all my
Hmm.
coaches, all my volunteers because they get paid absolutely $0 to do what they do. They
Yeah.
come out, they coaching kids, they taking kids home, they picking them up, we feeding them, we making sure they got what they need, all of that good stuff. So, um, yeah, for me, I'm incorporating your family is big, man. To
That's
be able
good.
to anyway.
Yeah, and that's definitely important. So we have covered a lot in this time. Is there anything that we may have missed that you want to add before we say good night?
Uh, thank y'all, man. Thank the city. Thank every sponsor. Thank you, Nicole, for putting it out there. Y'all, Nicole, my road dog now when she was at APD. Don't get it twisted now. I was a clown, but that was my dog right there.
Yeah.
But I thank everybody in the city for all of the help that they've given. Even if you sent $1, it's big. That dollar went towards some kid that didn't have $1. It
Wow.
went towards some kid eating. It went towards some equipment we may need. If we were doing an event, it went towards that. Our goal is like even in our youth program, we don't turn kids away. If it's a kid that's short on funds,
Mhm.
because of the community, we're able to let those kids play for free.
Yeah.
And we have like I know last year we had 160 some odd kids in the program. This year
Wow.
we have 130 something, but last year we were able to sponsor 75 kids. They paid absolutely $0 to come out there and play football,
Wow.
and that's between flag football and football. And that was Albany, Georgia that did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course we come out. To me it's bigger than funds. We don't get grants. We haven't gotten any grants or anything yet. I mean, we've gotten a few equipment grants, but as far as funding, a lot of that
Hmm.
stuff we have to do on our own. So if we post a flyer and we're having a game like this week, we're having a game at Albany High School. Saturday morning, the first game starts at 10. If you come out and you can donate at the gate, you can come and watch the
Hmm.
game. You can come and buy a plate, some from the concession stand. All of that money goes towards our kids getting trophies for their banquet. The kids that advance to the playoffs and to the championship, all of that money goes towards that. Our cheerleaders this year are actually going to compete at Disney.
Oh
All of
wow.
those funds go towards that. Yeah, all
Yeah.
of those funds go towards that. So anything you give to our program is gonna show. So
Yeah. A ministry
appreciate
ain't
y'all.
cheap.
Yeah.
Min-
Yes.
Ministry is not cheap. It costs to
Yes.
do ministry.
Yes.
It costs to do ministry.
Yes.
So do you have anything upcoming functions or anything that we
I
can support?
yes, you can come out and support the Doherty High School girls. Our actual flag season starts in September. I think our first game is the beginning of October. I will put that flyer on my page and everybody
Mhm.
else's page, and look on Doherty High School's page for those flyers. Of course, our football season has started, so we have games all around the city. Not only our program, but other
Right.
programs that are in our league, Pop Warner League. So if you see somebody posting a flyer or about a game, you'll see it on my page. And South Georgia Wolverines page, you can actually go on there and like it and see what we're doing. Look at the
Okay.
kids running around, playing games, all of that good stuff. So, yeah, that's all we have right now at the moment. So,
Okay. Well, that's good. Well, I thank you, my friend, for coming on, for your yes, and just sharing a part of your life and what you do to in the community. So thank you for your service, the service in the
yes,
military,
ma'am.
the continuous service that you do in the city of Albany, keeping us safe while we
Yes,
sleep
ma'am.
at night. So a big
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you
Yes,
to
ma'am.
you. And let me see if we have any questions. No, I don't see questions. Hey, everybody. Hey, Demetrius, Christy, Pastor Swan is on. Hey, Erica.
Miss
Thank
Swan,
you
hey Miss
all for
Swan, we love you.
coming.
The Franklin look, hey, we love Miss Swan now.
That's
Franklin
the
love
pre-
Miss Swan, boy.
that's the sneaker preacher.
Hey, I love her to death. I
That's
love her to
my
death.
girl. Yeah. Okay. Well, that is gonna wrap up this episode with Home Speaks for the Spotlight segment. Thank you all again for joining us. Thank you again, Dramoski. And you can
You're
follow me
welcome.
on my
You're welcome.
page, my Facebook page at Home Speaks. You can follow me on Spotify for my podcast that comes out every Wednesday. And you can go to my website, Beauty for Ashes 8. That's the number 8.com to purchase my book, The Beauty for Ashes, the story behind the breakthrough. And you can also find it on Amazon. So that's it for tonight, good people. Like I said earlier, I just wanted to spotlight my friend and see him doing some great work in the city here with the kids. And it's good to give
Yes,
people their
ma'am.
flowers while they're here to receive it. So thank you again. Keep up the good work. Be blessed. Be safe in the streets. Watch your six. District
Yes,
3, though.
ma'am.
District 3. District 3. All right, good people. As always, remember you are needed, you are valued, you are appreciated, you are heard, and most of all, you are loved. And every day you wake up, God will give you beauty for ashes. I'm your host, Nicole, and we'll see you next time.
All
Peace.
right.
Good night,
Thank you,
everybody.
Nicole. Appreciate you.
You're welcome, dear.